Stefan. You always ask for this
I'm
moment.
very uncomfortable and shy. I don't know why you're throwing me in the limelight, but it's good.
Because you have
It's good
such a
to
cool
be.
background. No, why else? We have some people joining, so while people are joining, I'm going to entertain you a little bit with the blah blah. So no real messages have appeared, only AI messages in the chat. Ladies and gentlemen, don't be shy. Let us know that you exist and that you're alive, because we want to hear from you. Hello, Stefan. Anyone else who can say hello?
Hello.
San
Where's
Francisco,
everybody?
that's early in the morning. There we go. There we go. Now we're talking. All right. So recapping again, first meeting of the club. We will have monthly meetings, usually in the beginning of each month. That's the beginning of February. So I would say 11 meetings this year to go. One of these meetings will be replaced by the big conference headlined GenAI and localization, probably going to be renamed, but because the time of GenAI being a strategic thing is going away, it's now a tool under everybody's belt. That's why the topic today is not technology, it's not how to use these large language models, but instead how to plan for your year. The way you plan your localization team reflects on how you're perceived by your peers, how you galvanize your people. I already did some planning in our company at the Custom MT, but I'm very excited to hear from Tamara Tirjak, the bravest speaker who agreed to come on the stage for the first event without having an established platform. So Tamara, thank you for your courage and bravery. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Where are you joining us from?
I'm calling in from not so sunny Cambridge.
Not so sunny Cambridge. Cool. So just to introduce Tamara, Tamara has been leading localization at Frontier Developments for 10 years. And we actually had a few adventures in the localization space together. She's been presented at all the game localization conferences, like Game QE, right? The forum is where you have your beautiful picture in jacket projecting from the stage. We had some behind-the-scenes workshops with game localization customers, and Tamara has been teaching negotiations, right? So a very important skill in every walk of life. But if you're a head of localization or running a translation team, that's a very, very important skill to have. With elegance and grace, Tamara showed everybody how to use different tactics and techniques, and also how to keep your integrity and dignity while you negotiate. Today's topic is different. Tamara, what's the first thing people need to know about strategic planning? What's so important about planning? Why we should open this webinar series with this topic? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
So let me quote the same example that we discussed with Stefan during our recent discussion together, which was about toddlers on a car ride. Have you been on a car ride with a toddler? 5 minutes in, they will start asking you, are we there yet? Why aren't we going? Why are we stopping? When are we getting to grandma? So without proper planning, us as professionals, and to be honest, in our personal lives, we will be in exactly the same situation. Where am I going? What am I doing with my time? What am I doing with my team? So that's why I think strategic planning is essential, to know where we're going and how to get there.
When the team knows exactly the direction, there is not too much management involved, right? Day to day, you maintain, but once the direction is clear and the team is aligned, it's so much better than chaos. I do like chaos, but I can also appreciate strategic alignment. Now, the rules of this club is that we want it very interactive. I specifically asked Tamara that we go into not the listening experience, but instead an experience where everybody participates from the go-to. So Tamara, perhaps you can say a few words. How would you like the audience to react with you? Do they immediately open up cameras and talk if they're shy? Or do you keep it more like an introduction in the beginning and then we do the exercises and jump into groups?
As you say, I planned this session to be fairly interactive. It's a workshop. The more you put in, the more you get out of it. So please share. And we'll welcome questions and comments in the chat. So Stefan and Daria are going to be monitoring everything. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the way I saw it. Just to keep the chaos to a minimum, Constantine, we figured if people leave their questions in the chat, then we can kind of corral the troops that way, and we'll invite people to come on stage and ask the question. If I may ask people as well to turn their microphones off. Been muting some people here while we're getting started. If you inadvertently have kept your microphone on, please turn it off, and we'll ask you to turn it back on when we invite you on stage to ask a question. Tamara, don't let me keep you up. Go right ahead. The stage is all yours.
Thank you. And this is also my cue to leave the stage, right, Stefan? That's what it was a polite way to say, Kostya, let's begin.
That's right. You overstayed your welcome already.
Good luck.
Let Tamara present, please.
Okay, thank you very much for the warm welcome and the kind words. And thank you very much to Custom MT for hosting this workshop. And as Konstantin said, this is going to be hopefully the first of many. So thank you so much for bringing us together, localization professionals, in this amazing space to share experience and learn from each other. Quick technical, does everybody see my first opening slide? Are we good?
We are good. We can see you and hear you loud and clear.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. In that case, let's dive right in. Just kidding. You can't dive right into planning without first agreeing on the plan. So after we get to know each other a little bit, this is the plan for today. First, we are going to have a broad lens and look at our situation from quite high up using a method called step analysis. Then we move a little bit closer to our immediate circumstance using the SWOT technique. And once we have an idea of where we are at the moment, we'll start looking at setting goals and breaking those down into action steps. We'll have some time at the end of the session to recap and reflect on what we have learned today. One thing that I think Konstantin hasn't mentioned yet is that I'm also a yoga instructor. So as any good yoga teacher would do, I offer options to my students depending on where they are in their yoga journey. I will try to do the same today. So if this is all new to you, you will be able to pick it up and benefit from these exercises. On the other hand, if you're a more seasoned professionals and you've already swatted gazillion times, then I hope that I will still be able to give you a new angle, and you will also gain some interesting insights from the discussions with your peers. Let's not crash this meeting, but I would definitely like to ask you to keep your camera on when we go into breakout rooms. You are absolutely welcome to turn your camera on if you feel like it on the main room. I like to see smiling, friendly, encouraging faces. This is a workshop. So the more you put in, the more you get out, as I mentioned already. So please share as much as you feel comfortable sharing. We work in confidential industries, so there are natural barriers to how much we're able to share, especially since we are streaming, we're recording the session. But please share as much as you comfortably can. And as discussed, ask questions if anything is unclear. The chats are being monitored by Stefan and Daria here. Do you know the story of the pregnant warrior and her adventures with planning? Probably not. That's me.
I haven't heard.
At the end of every year, I spend a couple of days thinking about my year behind, what I have achieved, what went well, where my year has been lacking, and what I'm going to do next year to improve things, to make my life and my work more fulfilling, and to create the mold in which I want to shape my next year. A few years before, I set a goal to myself, which is, this year I will become a mother. I've heard about family planning, so I was like, I'm going to make a plan. By the end of this year, I will have a child. Family planning does not work that way. There are a lot of things, a lot of unpredictable circumstances. So it is not a plan, it is not a goal, it is a shout out to the universe. In my case, the universe answered, and it was around June when I had my first ultrasound appointment. Good news, the baby is healthy, everything is fine, baby is due around the 10th of January. I was thrilled. This is exactly what any parent-to-be wants to hear, even though it's a few days behind schedule. The weeks and months went by. I had a beautiful, smooth, easy pregnancy until during my last scan, I was told that there are some unfortunate circumstances and I need to be scheduled in for a cesarean section. I got an appointment for Friday afternoon, the 31st of December. So my son was born on New Year's Eve with a few hours to spare to my deadline. But it's not really the way I was hoping to experience childbirth. So where does yoga come into this story? I had another goal for the very same year. It's more like a goal, I promise. So I wanted to embark on my 300-hour teacher training journey to get my advanced certificate while pregnant. So I got to teach my exam class 1 hour long power vinyasa a few days before giving birth. I managed, but what I learned was to always look at my goals as a system rather than individual paths traveling parallel to each other. Planning adventures. Now, I would love to hear from you. If you would be kind as to start putting your goals, either personal or professional, into the chat, so I get an idea of where everybody is traveling to.
Does it should be localization goals?
Anything,
Tamara?
either personal or professional. The language. I think it's probably on every single localization professional wants to learn languages. It's never enough. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Okay. Being more spontaneous or being less spontaneous? Conflicting goals. Yeah, that happens as well. Fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much for the feedback. Traveling and classic for us localization folk. Fitness goals. Yep, I'm there with you. Okay. Dig a little bit deeper there. Love to hear about your big challenges in setting and meeting your goals. Oh, building more bridges with colleagues. I love that too. Biggest challenge is sticking to goals. Yep. Motivation can be hard.
I think our goal should be making this localization club a real success in the year coming. And given the attendance here this morning, we're on track to do that right out of the gate. So thank you, Tamara.
That's a beautiful goal. Thank you. Getting distracted by circumstances. Yeah, and that's pretty much spot on. Because the thing is, that our strategy and our goals do not exist in a vacuum. Sorry, not sorry. So this brings us to the first technique that we're going to cover today, which is the STEP analysis. STEP is an acronym. S stands for social. So these are all soft and squishy human things: emotions, feelings, trust, attitudes, perception, that are prevailing. Second one is technology, the ever-evolving technical landscape that we work in. E is economic situation, because we're running a business here, so money and the limited resources are always going to be part of our situation. And finally, the political situation. And I don't just mean political parties, but regulations, and also within your own organization, governance and restrictions. So anything that limits your kind of legal playing field to shape your strategy. Okay. At this point, if you have you or received the playbook workbook that I prepared? And Daria, would you mind putting in the chat a link where anybody can still download and open it on their screens? Because we'll start working with that right now. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So if you don't have this yet, please download and open it, and then we'll start the first exercise. For this, we are going to go into breakout rooms and have first interactive exercise. Once you're in your rooms, the first thing I would like you all to do is to choose your spokesperson who is going to be taking notes and report back to the main room once the exercise is done. Second, I think we should have a name for each breakout room. So should go S1, S2, S3, T1, T2, T3. That code will indicate which question from the workbook you will be asked to discuss and brainstorm on. And that's pretty much it. So the room name corresponds to the question that you discuss, and have a spokesperson to take notes. The challenge I'd like to set is every spokesperson will have 30 seconds, no more, to summarize what has been discussed. That's 5-6 sentences. So keep it very straight to the point, very concise, very sharp.
How long are we going in the breakout rooms, Tamara?
That's a good one. 6 minutes. So we're back at 4:25. Sorry, 5. Whatever hour 25. I realize you're in multiple time zones. So yes, 6 minutes from now.
Okay, sounds great.
Can we open the breakout rooms, please? Nice. I see all these people coming in with the cameras on. Yay! There are actual people on the workshop. Nice. Nice to see you.
Tamara, I'm embarrassed to say, but we got fully stuck on the first question and filled the full 6 minutes with the first question. So
Perfect.
But it was a broad question. I'm sorry to
yes.
say.
That was the idea. Absolutely. So every group was supposed to discuss one question only.
So I think we're not sure we understood it right, because I understood that depending on the room you would have got the question, but we couldn't figure out E2 what question was, so we went with the first one. Sorry.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah. So anybody had the social one question?
Yes.
I see all these people coming in with cameras on. Yay! There are actual people on the workshop. Nice. Okay, I'm hearing myself on the recording.
Yeah,
Why?
If you have your microphone on, please turn it off unless you're part of the conversation and you're interacting with Tamara. Thank you very much. Tamara, go ahead.
Okay, so let's start to debrief the exercise. Who was working on the social question number 1?
Us, E2.
S1. So social. Oh yeah. Okay. got it. Go for it. In that case, 30 seconds, please.
Yes. So we were saying that I mean, depending on whether the other people we look at are end users or like peers, we still see a gap in knowledge, although people are willing, like for example, at work to help you, giving you context, giving you strings, giving you like images when it's like non-editable images, still there is some gap there in the knowledge. And also the behavior, people want to learn, they seem interested in AI, what brings AI, like what can change for localization. However, you are also seeing the localization SME is also seen as the bottleneck because it's the one like, careful, you can't just go to AI without a post-editing person checking the stuff, or like, you need a first an investment to then see savings. It's not like Google Translate full blast everything. And so you're always seeing like the one that like, puts the negative, like that doesn't want to play along. And people tend not to see the risks. Like, for example, in my case, I work in a highly regulated environment. People like don't think about the risks of going AI blindly without, post editing attached to it. But they only worry about speed. Everything will be faster, everything will be cheaper. So it's hard sometimes to change this perception without being seen as a negative player.
Yeah, thank you very much. Who had social question number 2? Can you please also read the question so we all know what we're answering? Anybody had social question number 2? Social number 3?
I think that maybe everyone did the first one because we didn't know which one to do.
Okay. Anybody has answers to any other question? Or everybody did first one?
We all did the first one. I think Tamara.
Okay, so I probably wasn't very
the answer.
I was alone in the room, so I read all the questions and thought a little bit on every, and then I didn't realize also like T, what does it correspond now? And so like after the first presenters answered that, I was thinking a little bit of T2, which was my room number.
Okay, so do you have any feedback about T2?
T2 is the question exactly, where are we using technology primarily to save costs when the strategic need might actually be trust, speed, or insight? For me, it's sometimes double checking the outcome of the translation. So quality assessment especially for the instructions which have not been followed, because as a localization manager, you usually give instructions to the translators. And if you ask for translation in multiple languages, you know that at least one of the translators doesn't follow the instructions. And here, I guess the strategic need would be really the trust and not really technology, because if it would work, then I could save time and cost without using technology at all.
Yeah, that's really, really good insight. Thank you very much for sharing. Does anybody else want to unmute themselves and reflect on any of the questions in there that you feel interesting?
I feel like in some ways, I'm going to comment on the political stack, is in terms of the corporate politics and the corporate hierarchies, I'm actually noticing an interesting shift lately. We are a localization team, so obviously we are kind of usually an afterthought in organizational structure and processes. But with lately focus on AI, I mean, there's problems there for sure. But one thing I'm noticing is that suddenly, maybe temporarily, but we're trying to ride the wave. We are, as a localization team, we are seen as and invited to conversations that have to do more with technical aspects of AI implementation, not on the level we want. It's still being introduced as English only for now, but the conversations about the global reach suddenly are coming to the forefront because AI is seen as an enabler of that. And the realization that, oh, wait a second, we might have something in-house that also gives us that capability. We are almost giddy at the fact that we are remembered right now. So in some ways, I am seeing that as a positive, and we are trying our hardest to use the momentum to introduce or reintroduce ourselves, I should say, to the company.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much. This is really, really good insight. And let's remember that thought and take it on to the next topic, which is going to be this SWOT analysis. So I would like to suggest that you take these questions home, you reflect on them, you talk about them with your teams, you will get some additional interesting insight. And then let's move on to SWOT. So while STEP is good to understand the wide, broad environment in which we operate in, SWOT brings everything a bit closer to us. I like to think of it as sailing a boat. So let's imagine we're back in 2023, awards translated 9 in Marco Trombetti's crew, and the whole industry is cheering us on as we complete the ocean race. So we're in the sailing boat. SWOT, once again, is an acronym. T stands for threats. With sailing, that's rough seas, adverse weather conditions, things like that, absolutely outside our control. Opportunity is, I think, what Julia mentioned, which is favorable weather conditions or uncharted islands with hidden treasure buried. Weakness would be damage and leaks in the ship's hull. And strength is like your sail. That's what will propel you forward towards your destination. So what can we do with these 4 things in our environment? Threats, not much. We can plan for them sometimes. We can put things in place to mitigate when they inevitably hit. Opportunities. Opportunities are available to everyone, to us, to our competitors alike. So it's about positioning ourselves in a way that we can benefit from them. Or a sailing ship can only ever go in one direction. So choosing which opportunities to pursue in any given moment. Any captain would know that if they leave the hull leaking and damaged, the ship will eventually sink. So those weaknesses need to be addressed. And you can do as much to your hull. All the leaks might be fixed, but if your sail is hanging, it's torn, then the ship is just going to be stranded in the middle of the sea and you will not get any further in your journey. If the SWOT analysis is new for you, then what I would like you to do, again, in your workbook, is start listing the things that you feel would go under your strength. This can be either your personal strength or your team's strength, weaknesses, and then opportunities and threats. Opportunities, think outside your organization, but also within your organization, but outside your team. So once again, what Julia mentioned is the perception of localization from other disciplines. If you're more of a seasoned SWOTer and you've done this a couple of times and you don't feel like putting in a shopping list, or you feel like writing AI in all 4 areas, then maybe you want to think about a couple of prompts that I put in there for you to turn things around a little bit. Choose one strength that you rely on too much. Choose one weakness that you have been avoiding naming up to now. One opportunity that can easily become a new risk. And one threat that you secretly believe is already happening. We just don't talk about it. Okay. So take about 2 minutes to look in your spreadsheets and start filling this in. Either create a list, reflect on my prompts. And if you have any questions or comments about this, this would be a good time to pop it in your chat or unmute yourself and throw it at me.
That's a real challenge, Tamara. All of these are not easy.
It's not meant to be. Strategic planning is not easy, Stefan. It's fun, but not easy. Just like sailing, you know. It's also fun, especially when the weather is good and the sun is shining and you're on the Mediterranean. But
I'm getting sweaty palms just thinking about some of these.
I do my best thinking when I'm walking, so I would put on my headphones and start walk, maybe talk to somebody in a conversation, and then it happens, and then we sit together and do the analysis like on a spreadsheet. What about you, Tamara? Do you connect action with thinking?
Action with thinking. I also do like walking around.
Like movement, like
yeah.
When you do yoga, do you have like new ideas coming to your mind?
I have all my new ideas coming when meditating, and I'm not supposed to have any. So that's when all the good ideas come. And I'm like, oh, I should write this down. No, I can't. I'm sitting in the darkness with my headphone on my meditation pillow. I can't write this down now. Yeah. Okay. How are we doing? Are we kind of done with our SWOTs? Brainstorming? Wave at me if you're kind of done, or give me a thumbs up. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're going to take a little bit of a energizing break. So I think Daria has prepared a little bit of a gaming round for us.
That's correct.
Okay.
So we will use a Mentimeter game.
Shall I stop sharing my screen and give it over to you then?
Yes, please. That would be perfect.
There you go. So to introduce this game, so now we understand our broader environment, our more immediate environment, and we're going to move into turning those into strategies and actions and goals and tactics and all of that. But before we do that, we should really understand what the difference is between a strategy and a tactic. So we're going to be doing a little bit of a challenge. So you will see some statements and you will need to decide whether they are strategy or a tactic. Yeah? Okay, Daria, over to you.
So Tamara, please navigate me. Where should I go to the next slide? We have just 14 players joining, so let's wait a bit for more people. Give them opportunity to join.
Go ahead and scan the QR code and join us. If you want to jump back to the QR code for a second.
Of course, and there is also a message in the chat. You can just press a link, use this code, and enter the Mentimeter. Okay, I see some thumbs up. How many people do we have right now in the Zoom? Should we wait?
Well, half of us are AI, isn't it?
No,
Yeah,
they're all real. They're all real people, but maybe not everybody wants to play. But I think we should go ahead.
That's
we have
fine.
24 players. Kick it off, Daria.
Yeah, go.
So you should answer really quickly. The first one gets more points. And Tamara, up to you. I think would be nice to hear some comments after each question.
Yes, this is actually indeed strategic. Yeah, I will give my notes for the second one. Let me just open my slides. So yes, let's move on to the second question. Yes, indeed, it's tactical because it's a process improvement, but not a strategic repositioning. Yep, once again, tactical because it supports the current operations, but it doesn't change the approach.
It's quite remarkable that we always have the same kind of breakouts of people that are getting it right and people that are getting it wrong. I wonder why it's the same people that are getting it wrong all the time and they just switch sides. But
that might be just the rebel other side, anarchy in the UK. Yeah. Yep. Next one.
all right, this one, everybody's got to get right, right?
Yeah, perfect. Because it's a fundamental resource allocation choice with long-term consequences. So definitely strategy. Next one.
Build internal translation capability instead of relying on external vendors.
Yep. I'm not saying it's good strategy, but it's a strategic decision nevertheless, because it changes the organizational structure, capabilities, and competitive advantage, for better or worse. Yep. Next.
Hire 2 more project managers for the EMEA.
Yeah, I deliberately put these two questions next to each other. So deciding on your organization structure is strategic, whereas a hiring decision is tactical.
Position localization as a revenue driver rather than a cost center. Strategic or tactical, guys?
Yes, 100%. Almost 100%, right? Reframes the entire function's role and value within the organization. So absolutely strategic. Yep. Next.
If from reactive to proactive quality assurance across all language pairs.
What does that mean? That's interesting.
It's a tie. Yeah. I would love to hear why this could be a tactical one. I see why. I think it's strategic because it changes the fundamental approach and positioning of quality in the workflow. But yeah,
Can some of these be both strategic and tactical at the same time, Tamara? Or does that not exist in your world?
I think it could. There are definitely gray zone cases. I think it could be tactical if, let's say, my strategy is to improve the quality offering or quality position of localization team, and then this could be one of the tactical steps to support that. So instead of putting QA in the back, we put it slightly further ahead in the process. So if it's more, practical, then yeah, it could be tactical as well.
I'm relieved.
Yes. Yeah, let's go on to the next one.
Implement a new TMS by Q3.
Yep, it's just a tool change. It doesn't really change what we're trying to achieve. Next.
Standardize on one tech stack globally instead of regional tool flexibility.
Yes, that's strategic because there is a major trade-off between efficiency and adaptability with long-term tool lock-in. Yep. Next.
Set up automated notifications for translation memory matches below 75%.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody would want to do that, but yes, it's just a process thing that you might want to do, not a strategic shift. So next slide.
Shift from translation as final step to internationalization first product design. That's the dream for everybody in localization, I would think.
Yeah, it's a beautiful strategy and a dream and a wish sent out to the universe. Yep. Next one.
We're almost at the end, and it seems like people are getting more questions right. Reduce average turnaround time for marketing content from 5 days to 3 days.
Yep, it is tactical because it's a performance improvement within an existing model. You don't revise your whole delivery procedure.
Are the students getting better, you think, Tamara, or are the questions getting easier?
No, everybody's getting a lot better, but that's the aim of the exercise. Is by the end of it, we understand the difference between strategy and tactics clearly. So I think we're getting there.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's see if we can get one fully right.
Attend the Loc conference in June to scout new MT vendors. Who will be there?
Yep, it's tactical because it's an information gathering activity and not a commitment to change.
So attending the Loc conference could be strategic, but it's a second part that makes it tactical, Tamara.
Yeah. Well, strategic would be something like, let's increase our presence on trade shows or live events. But I think this would be more like a strategy for service providers, is we need to be there, we need to be seen. And then Lockwood can be part of that strategy as a tactical step. Okay. Awesome. Do we have anybody who got it all fully right? Whoa. Nice.
All right, I'm hanging my head in shame.
You knew all the answers.
Is that you, Stefan, or the other Stefan?
I don't, maybe it's the other Stefan.
Who is the umbrella? Oh, Stefan Lechner, right?
I bet you it's Stefan Lechner.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done, everyone. And yes, I think we were getting better by the end of the round. So awesome.
Not that I'm accusing anybody of shenanigans, but I did end up being in the breakout room with the other Stefan as well. What are the chances of that? Same spelling and in the same breakout room. Anyway, I'm letting you continue. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a small world when you're in global business. Okay, right. Let me reshare my screen. We're back to our little sailing boat. Everybody sees it well? All good? Amazing. Okay, I hope you enjoy this lightning round of strategy versus tactic. If you think of the sailing boat, then strategy is where we want to go, and tactics are how we play around with the ropes and how we turn the wheel to get there. If you wanted to use a military metaphor, which is very common in business, then tactics are about winning the battle, and strategy is about winning the war. And I also like this definition that I found on a consultancy site, which is strategy defines the what and the why, focusing on the big picture, whereas tactics are on the how, detailing the day-to-day operations. So that's a good distinction between the two. Okay, so now we understand our environment, we know what the difference is between strategy and tactics, so what are we going to do about it? Let's get back to our workbooks. And the first thing, under your SWOT matrix, you will see some space where you can put your strategy. So consider your SWOT reflection, figure out which is the one thing you want to tackle right now. A good rule of thumb is don't try to do more than 2 or maximum 3 things at any given time, because your focus will just get scattered and you will not be able to make progress anywhere. And then, your ship might want to go into opposite direction. That's not going to work either. So look at your SWOT and pick your strategic direction from that. Then from the strategy, derive 2 tactical goals, which we're going to make smart, but also resilient. How do we do that? We look at all those places where the goal itself might be fragile, leaking. So to understand what are the assumptions that we have that must be true for this goal to succeed. Is that clear if you look at your exercise? Brilliant. Before you get going, I do want to talk a little bit about SMARTifying the goals. If you've been in business for a while, SMART goals are probably a concept that you've heard about before. Honestly, I've always understood the value of having SMART goals, but I personally often struggled applying these principles to my own situation. So if you're anything like me, I hope that my guiding questions will be helpful for you to reflect on SMARTifying your goals and how to approach that. Once again, SMART is a business acronym, S standing for specific. For us as localization teams, this is extra difficult because, as somebody mentioned before, we are a downstream department, so we are constantly impacted by changes and requirement shifts further upstream. So the challenge for us is how to make our goals specific enough, but still flexible and agile so that we can adapt them when things change. Goals have to be measurable. Let's go back to our toddler situation. Are we there yet? Exactly. We need to measure how far we are in that progress. But also, I think it's a good idea to think about not just measuring the goals, but communicating the real impact and the value that the goal delivers. So you have your pretty numbers, how you visualize it in a powerful way that it tells a good story. A normally stands for achievable. Who wants to have an impossible goal, right? Let me add another word there, which is attractive. everybody, your team, will be much more motivated to work towards a goal which is inspiring, which is wonderful. It's a beautiful destination to sail towards. So to turn this around, think about who are the people who could quietly resist your goal, sabotage it maybe, or who openly block this from happening, and how you want to manage the communication with them. The goal has to be relevant. It has to take you closer to the strategic goal that you set for yourself. So what would make this goal no longer relevant in 12 months from now? Strategic decisions are long-term. Tactical decisions and goals are time-bound. Normally, again, a rule of thumb, these would be about 6 to 12 months in terms of time frame. So there is a target date, if not a deadline, for you to achieve. I would like you to think about what happens if you don't achieve the goal by that time. What happens if it's a few days delayed? Or what happens if you haven't completed your goal fully by then? Are the partial results of the goal still helpful for you? So you have your notebooks, and once again, I will please spend a couple of times to set your goals, strategy, 2 goals, and then reflect on the questions to make them smart and resilient. And while everybody is working away, I'm also open to any questions if you have anything here or on any of the other chats.
Hi, I do have a question. As I'm not very sure on the relationship between the SWOT analysis and the strategy. So how do I come up with a strategy based on my SWOT analysis?
Yes, that's a really good one. So if you look at your SWOT, for example, you identified an opportunity. Let me go back to what Julia mentioned, because I think that was a really, really good example, is you notice a shift in perception of localization. So your strategy would be how you're going to take advantage of that. Your strategy can be, I'm going to shift how localization is perceived within my company. Or if you had some interesting insight from your SWOT regarding your weaknesses, which is I spent too much time focusing on cost reduction, then your strategy can be to address that. Is I'm going to shift my focus on servicing my customers better.
Got it. So it sounds like, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much. So it sounds like my strategy would be to address one of the strengths, weakness, or opportunity, or if I could, to address all of them.
Exactly. You probably won't be able to address all of them, but pick either a threat to mitigate, an opportunity to pursue, a weakness to address, or the one strength to leverage.
Got it. Thank you so much.
No problem. That was a really good question. Thank you.
What's the next step, Tamara?
Are we done with the goals, more or less? I'm waiting for people to fill out the worksheet. How are we doing with it? Give me a thumbs up if you're kind of done with your 2 goals and smartifying them. Give me a thumbs up if you need 1 more minute on that. Okay. Thank you. So let's give it maybe 2 more minutes.
What would you say is the biggest advantage of doing this exercise, Tamara?
When you're setting goals for yourself in your personal life, how do you do them? This is what I feel like doing. This is what interests me. It's a very gut feeling sort of goal setting. Or this is what I feel is missing from my life. This is how I would like to see myself. I want to run a marathon. That's how I want to see myself, for example. In business, doing what we feel like is rarely the best option. So the reason why we did the STEP and the SWOT is to start thinking about the environment, where we are, what are the challenges, so that we can do the right thing and set our goals accordingly. Was that an answer?
Do you feel when you set the goals officially like that, that the results are a lot more tangible, or that you meet your goals a lot more frequently, or at least you get that impression? You think it's more structured and gets better results as such, or might it feel intimidating a little bit at the same time?
It tells a good story. So if I want to approve, for example, getting that new TMS that we mentioned, then if I start it, this is where we are, this is where the technological advances are going, and we are being left behind. It causes weaknesses to our setup, it causes risks, then it's easier to get that approved if your strategy is aligned with the problems that are experienced by the whole company, and if they are derived from the external circumstances. Then you can weave a better story around them, and people see why that is important, and you don't just want a shiny new gadget.
So it's as much about the whole organization than it is about yourself, really. It's about integration of your goals with the rest of the company.
Yes, yeah, and that's something that we haven't actually discussed, which is to understand where the company itself is going and aligning goals to that. Yeah. Okay, so assuming you are kind of done with your goals by now, so let's move on to the next step. So we have our 2 big goals. They are probably taking us 6 to 12 months to work on and achieve, and that's a long time. These goals are big, they are complex, they are intimidating. A few years ago, I worked with a trainer from South Africa, and he had this favorite metaphor: how do you eat a whole elephant? Well, one bite at a time. So what we want to do here is break our goals down to small bite-sized chunks so that we can actually start working on them. I will talk you through an example here. The goal that I chose for myself is implementing a new TMS by the end of Q3 as part of my technology strategy. We can break that down. Let's say in the first quarter, I'm going to choose the system. In the second quarter, I will prepare the rollout. And in the third quarter, I will gradually roll it out content type by content type. I didn't put Q3 on this chart, just the first 2. So the first quarterly goal, I can break down further into still pretty big chunks of project steps. This will take about a month each. So first, perform a requirement capture to understand what I need, what the stakeholders will expect from that tool. Then I will go out to the marketplace, talk to developers, look at demos, explore solutions. Then I will evaluate them based on the requirements, and then choose and work with a publishing procurement to source that tool. Then move on to the second quarter. We will migrate resources, TMs, glossaries, etc. We will set up the localization workflows, test, iterate, communicate about progress, look at risks, and then proceed to the rollout. So this is how the goals can be broken down from long-term to shorter-term ones. But we're not done yet. I'm going to look at the first monthly goal, which is the requirement capture, and that can be broken down a lot further. I will leave this on the screen for you to have a look. So that will include mapping the localization requirements by talking to everybody in the team, the technical and connectivity requirements. Our engineer will know the answers to that. IT, InfoSec will have some expectations, probably legal and procurement as well. You know your team. And then the last step will be to assign weights to all of these requirements so that we have this big, bulky, magical spreadsheet that we can use for the requirement capture. For this goal breakdown, I chose the action point, stakeholders, risks, and mitigation plans. For me, that works well. For this use case, this works well. And you're absolutely welcome to run with it. But if your situation needs other columns, for example, you want to delegate some of those tasks, then you will have a column for the delegee. I don't know if that's a word, the person that you delegate to. You can have, if it's time critical, you will have something for target date or deadline. You might have something for deliverables, expected outcomes. If somebody has to approve that process step, then who has to approve it, what report you need to prepare for them, etc. So you're welcome to change the headings as you see fit. And I would like to do more breakout rooms. Is that okay, Daria? So we can spend the next 5 minutes in the breakout rooms and talk about our use cases with each other. Let me give you a couple of example questions that you can discuss. One is, which of these techniques have you found challenging to apply to your own situation? Or going further, it sounds good, but it will never work for me. And you can also ask your peers, so how would you do this if you were in my shoes? So a couple of questions for you to look into when you're in your breakout rooms. So Daria, are you okay to open those rooms?
Yes, we have around 7 people in each breakout room, and
Perfect.
they will be opened right now.
Excellent. Yeah, I
We
visited
went at it. We went at it, Tamara.
Fantastic. Yeah, I saw that was a nice big room. I visited the other two. So those were also really positive discussions, which is amazing. This is what we were aiming for today, wasn't it? Goal has been achieved.
Yeah, one of the things that we all agreed upon was that when you're in a workshop like this, thinking about strategic things that are not top of your stack on a regular basis, it's empowering, and it empowers us to start doing more strategic things in our own respective organizations. And Rena and Geraldine and Nomanovi, we all were in agreement that we're going to be doing some more strategic stuff in our own respective organizations. So kudos to you, Tamara. You converted some.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think we had this discussion with you, Stefan, a couple of days ago, and also the breakout room I visited. One of the challenges is to how to find space and time for strategic stuff, because we're so busy with day-to-day deliverables. Upstream departments constantly throwing things at us to do ASAP. So it's difficult to carve out space and energy for this. And that's where I think breaking down goals into smaller action steps can be really, really helpful, because it's difficult to find time to do a requirement capture. It's big, it's complex, it's intimidating, and I will never have that much time to do that during my days. But if you break that down to, I need to ping this message over to the IT manager to ask him for feedback, It takes 5 minutes. It pushes your goal forward, and you can fit that in between your day-to-day deliverables. So I would really recommend to integrate the strategic thinking into your day-to-day life, manage these important but not so urgent tasks in the same place, same Gantt chart, same Kanban, same Jira, same task list in Outlook, wherever you do that, as the day-to-day operative things, and just make sure that you set aside some time. Yeah, that was a really good comment. Thank you very much.
And thanks to you, we are, and I'll stop interrupting you, but I want to give you one more compliment. Thanks to you, we're going to have the tools. It's very nice to have the concrete tools to organize so neatly the way you've done it. No more excuses now. We have actually the right tools to go to work on this. Sorry for interrupting again. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And if you get stuck, if you have questions, then you can find me on LinkedIn, and I'm always open to geek out about planning. So yeah, feel free to reach out. So that was a great introduction to our reflection part, because it's great that we've done these exercises. It's great that we've talked, but when the learning will really sink in is when we go back out into the wild and start applying these things in our day-to-day life and work. So what is the most important learning for you today? Please raise a virtual hand or pop it into the chat. I would love to hear a few brave people.
Don't be shy. I'm not going to talk anymore. I'm letting somebody else jump in. And Abdullah, go ahead, man. Turn on your microphone and let us know.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Tamara, for the very fun and informative session. And thank you for sharing the tools. This is a very important thing, to have a tool that we can base actions on. I think the most important thing for everyone is to have the view, to have the insight. What is the actual situation and what can be done and how should it be done. Therefore, I would also recommend everyone to have the so-called, after doing the SWOT analysis, to also do the so-called TOS analysis. TOS analysis compared to SWOT analysis is a way to convert your plan into actionable steps. So it helps you tackling the
Yeah, would you mind putting the, was it TOS analysis into the chat so that we can all check it out? I think the audio is breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, the audio is breaking up a little bit. If you could type in your comment maybe in the chat, that's a good idea, Tamara. Anybody else?
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Very briefly for me, thank you, Tamara, for all what you shared today. For me, it was really making the difference between strategic and I forgot, and oh, I don't find my notes.
And tactical?
Exactly. Yeah. To really divide both, and also to use a SWOT analysis. I did that in the past, for example, at a personal level or career level, but applying that for localization, really helps. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. The next question I have for you today is, what is the first thing that you will implement, either today, if it's still morning, or if you're in Europe, then tomorrow?
Can I speak and maybe ask a question? So it's a weird way, but as we were discussing everything, and there was this question, like it's all good that there are tools and there are things to plan, but I guess step number 2, which is a very important one, is to implement that and have a really healthy habit to stick to it, to not jeopardize own goals and deadlines for that. And that brought me to the thought that I want to read something about habits, like creating and keeping up habits. Maybe you have a good advice, like how to stick to the goal, not in terms of organizing it, but like to implement in that, because I guess it's something like many of us struggle, because yeah, this is fairly comparable, easy task to plan something, but to implement, especially for those whose position is not only like on the strategic level, but rather like this firefighting, which you were commenting on as you joined our discussion. So maybe some advices for that, maybe a book or another tool.
Yeah, Randy put in the chat the 7 habits for highly effective people. That's a good one. There is also Atomic Habits. That's a good one for habits. But again, books are just books. So unless you put them into practice, the lazy answer for me is this could be a whole new workshop. So constantly put it on your list for a later one this year. The immediate first step I can really suggest is to treat these strategic action steps as part of your daily to-do list. And the second thing is to find accountability points. So if you have one-on-ones with your manager every week, 2 weeks, month, quarter, however you function, make sure that these goals are there and they are revisited regularly, so that there is constant progress. The progress is reviewed. If you feel blocked, if you, for example, don't have time to work on them, then again, it's a discussion with the manager to understand how time can be freed up for you if it's priority.
I think Neira had a question as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to comment about the playbook that I'm going to send that to my boss if I may. So just that. And also I struggled as Evgenia, like, how to work on strategy, because I have to do a lot of operational work as well. But indeed, putting it in my personal goals, discussing it with my manager and being accountable, with updates, or like weekly or monthly updates to the group, then you just make time. You have to make time. You have to present a slide. So that's the driver. Otherwise, if you just, like what you said, Tamara, there's no accountability, then everything slides. And it's with the personal life as well. So thank you so much. I'm really happy I found the time to join. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the feedback. And yeah, accountability can be huge. When I work on a big project, I sometimes put in weekly meetings either with my engineer that I'm working with on the project, or my manager, or with my team. So that every week I am kind of forced to report progress, because I can't just face my team every week and say, nothing happened. Come on. So I kind of force myself to make progress every week, because every week I need to tell my team what progress has been happening. Okay, and one last question is, what's your strategy to improve your strategic skills? Because planning skills are kind of like muscles, so you need to work and flex them regularly to get better. So what will be your long-term strategy to keep working at it?
Now that you've given us the tools, there's little excuse anymore, really, Tamara.
Yep, I've given you the dumbbells, so all you have to do is lift 10 times a day.
I think important for improving our strategic thinking and viewing things is to follow resources where one can have an overview of the image, what's happening on the market, what's happening globally. This helps you seeing opportunities, seeing developments, and this helps you not focusing or zooming in on very small pieces of the image. So when you keep following resources, you and for example attending such a session, you can have a better idea, better ideas. You can have a better view, overview, and then you can, on the long term, improve how you improving how can you improve your work or your business on the long term.
Yeah. If you have any resources to recommend, can you put them in the chat that we should all follow? Thank you. And this was my last question. Well, almost last. So thank you very much, all of you, for attending, for being so active in the discussion. I've learned a lot from your insights, so definitely appreciate that. Also, once again, thank you, CustomMT, for organizing this this session and inviting me to facilitate this for you. I've had a lot of fun, so yeah, I hope you did too.
And thank you, Tamara, for joining us today and sharing all your strategic brilliance. A lot of people are gonna have better strategic results this year just because of you. So we really appreciate that.
Thank you. Oh, I lied because I do have one more question. My strategic goal is to continuously become better as a trainer. So I think Daria will have a form for you. So I would love to hear some feedback about this session, both for me and also if there's anything for CustomMT that they can take into account for making these sessions more useful for you in the future.
Thank you for sharing your time and your energy and interest with us, and for starting this club. We'll have another meeting on a new topic in a month.